Today we are going to see about waterfall model in software engineering. So introduction to waterfall model. So waterfall model is considered as the basic software development lifecycle model. It is very simple and it is not used nowadays. And this model was popular earlier. And this waterfall model is considered as a sequential model because once we move to the next step, we cannot move backwards. So like waterfall. So that's why it is named as waterfall. So waterfall model uh, is used in large and complex projects. It is used in the field of information technology and it is characterized as a structured sequential approach. So here is how the waterfall model is displayed. First one is first phase is requirement gathering and analysis. Second is system design, implementation, testing, development, and maintenance. So there are some features of waterfall model. First one is a sequential approach. So here, well, once we move to the next stage, we cannot move backward. So we have to check whether all the phases of the project is completed before moving to the next one. Next the feature of a waterfall model is document driven because here this model relies on documentation to ensure whether the project is well defined and the project team is working towards the clear set of goals. Next one is quality control. Here it checks for a high quality control and testing at each phase of the project. Next one is rigorous planning. So here in waterfall model, we have a rigorous planning process because once we move to the next step, we cannot move backward. So here all the way project scope, timelines and deliverables are carefully defined and monitored throughout the life cycle. So why we need to use this waterfall model? First one is clarity. So since this waterfall model is considered as a uh, simple and basic. So excuse me, simple and basic. All the requirements are mentioned in a clear way. Next one is clearly defined phases. So we have six phases here, right? So all the phases have unique inputs and unique outputs, guaranteeing all the planned development with obvious checkpoints here. Next one is documentation. So in documentation, where the by documenting the software comprehension, keep up and future proof stability in requirements. So the waterfall model is suitable for projects where the requirements are clear and reducing modifications as the project progresses. Next, this waterfall model is relevance for small projects. So it is economical for modest projects with simple specifications and minimal complexity. So here the first phase of the waterfall model is requirement, second one is system design, and third one is implementation, testing, delivery or deployment, and for sixth phase is maintenance. So first phase of waterfall model is requirement. So this is the first phase where the requirements are gathered from the stakeholders and analyzing them to understand the scope and objective of the project. So we have a clear objective for the project. So we will discuss, then we will eliminate language ambiguity and we will identify what are the cases that exist while doing the project, and we will show the demos to the customers, stating the complications in the project requirement. Next phase is design phase. So design phase, once the requirements are clearly mentioned, the design phase begins. This involves creating a design document that outlines the software architecture, user interface, and system components. So implementation and coding. So the coding will be done. That means the software will be taken into small modules, and all those modules will be designed individually, and it will be gathered together. Next phase, and it will move on for development. So in the development phase, it includes both the coding and software based on the specifications, and this phase includes testing to ensure each component of the software is working as we have expected. Next phase is testing and verification. So testing is classified as integrated system and acceptance testing. So integrated integration testing. So integration testing, when integrations testing is nothing but since the project is divided into two different modules, all those modules have been designed separately, and once we will check whether all these modules will work properly when they are integrated together. Next one is system testing, evaluating the entire software system to ensure that meets the specified requirement. Next one is acceptance testing. So acceptance testing is done at the customer's end to ensure whether the software which was given by the developer meets the requirements of the customer. Next stage is deployment. So deployment, once the software has been tested and approved, it is deployed to the production environment. So it will check whether it is compatible for the end users to use this software. Next, last stage is maintenance. So maintenance is considered as the final phase of the waterfall model, which involves fixing any issues that arise after the software has been deployed and ensuring that it continues to meet the requirements over time. So what are the advantages of waterfall model? So waterfall model is straightforward and predictable. The linear and structured nature of waterfall model makes it easy to understand and manage. Next one is documentation. So here the each phase has been documented, which can be valuable for large or complex projects. Next one is suitable for stable requirements where the projects have clear-cut requirements. We can use waterfall model. Next, here are some of the disadvantages of waterfall model. Lack of flexibility. So the rigid sequential nature of a waterfall model makes it difficult to accommodate changes in requirements, changes in requirements, or I cannot adapt to the new information. Next one is late feedback. Customers and users do not get to see the final product until the whole project is over. Next one is extended development time. The waterfall model can result in lengthy because each phase is done with more care because it cannot move to the previous one when one phase is done. So we have studied, till now we have studied 6 phases of waterfall model, and these 6 phases are requirements: design, development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So in requirement phase, we will be gathering requirements of the stakeholders, and design phase, the software will be more divided into modules, and the design is done. And in development phase, all these design will be gathered together and testing is performed. And once the testing is performed, both at the developers and the customers side, it is given for deployment. And for the in deployment, it is checked whether all the users can use this product with the ease. And once it is that all these things are done, we will be moving to the final phase called maintenance, where we can fix any issues as well as we can maintain the requirements over time. So and we have also discussed the advantages of waterfall model. That is, it is easy to understand, it is individual processing, and it is properly defined and properly documented, and work good working of the uh all for and it works good for small projects instead of large projects. And the disadvantage is it kind we will be getting late feedback and difficult to accommodate change requests, and no overlapping of phases, because once the phase is done, we cannot move backward, and limited flexibility. So the waterfall model is a rigid and linear approach. We cannot, it is not suited for the large projects and unclear requirements. Sorry. Next one is limited stakeholder involvement. Because here in the waterfall model, since waterfall model is a structured and sequential approach, here the stakeholders are typically involved in the early phases of the project, that is at the requirement phase, but they are not involved in between, and only at the end they are given for testing. Next one is late defect detection. Because in waterfall model, testing is done towards the end of the development process. So once the design and everything is done, if we find any defect, it will be complex for us to fix it. Next one is lengthy development cycle. Because a waterfall model is considered as lengthy, because in each phase must be completed before moving on to the next one. This can result in delays and increased cost if requirements change or new issues arise. When to use this waterfall model. So waterfall models can be used in following cases. One is when we know that what are the requirements of the project, and next one is very little changes need to be expected, because during development phase very little adjustments can be done at the project. Next one is medium to so when waterfall model can be applied for small projects or medium projects, and predictable. So predictable is the projects are low risk, because in waterfall model each phase is designed done with extra care, because they cannot be moved to the previous state. Next one is limited resource. Here, because the projects with limited resource can benefit from this strategy, whereas which enables targeted resource allocation. So where here, and we also can discuss some of the applications of waterfall model. So waterfall models, as I say, large scale software development. Because the waterfall model is often used for large scale software development, where a structured and sequential approach is necessary to ensure that the project is completed on time and within budget. Next one is the waterfall model is also often used in the development of safety and critical systems such as aerospace and medical systems, whereas the consequences of errors or defects can be severe. Next one is the waterfall model is also commonly used in government and defense projects, where a rigorous and structured approach is necessary to ensure the project meets all the requirements and is delivery on time. And the waterfall models can is also suited for projects with a well-defined requirements, and the sequential nature of the model requires a clear understanding of the project objective and scope. So here the waterfall model is nothing but a step-by-step development and project management. So here we have discussed 6 phases, right? So this approach works for very well for projects where for all projects, whereas the steps are clear from the beginning. So the main benefit of a waterfall model is it helps projects to keep a well-defined and predictable project under the budget. So waterfall models works best for well-defined and changing projects. So these are the things we have discussed in our presentation. So waterfall model is it has 6 phases. Thank you.